What's happening, YouTube? Back in the day gamer here. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Once again, 'tis the season. It's Halloween. Been hanging out in the game room. I got my Ghost and Goblin shirt on, drinking out of my jack-o'-lantern cup. Been playing some Halloween themed horror spooky type games. And I thought, I want to bring you my top 3 NES Halloween homebrews. So I am pleased to say that this Halloween season I have actually got to play a lot of the games that in past years I always mean to, and then November comes around and I didn't get to it. But this year we're getting into them. Out of all the games I have been playing, these 3 I've played the most, and these 3 I have had the best time with. So the idea for this video just fell right into my lap. So I want to throw this out there because there's still time for you guys to get your hands on these games and enjoy them for the Halloween season. The first game I want to talk about in this video is my number 3 choice. I like all of these a lot. This one is 3rd place, so we're putting them in that order from, I don't want to say worst because this is a damn good game, but the first game, my number 3 pick that we're going to talk about is none other than Castlevania Holy Relics. Now I didn't do my homework to see the story on this game. I don't have a manual. I picked it up somewhere and I started playing it. It's a Castlevania game. You shouldn't need a whole lot of preface to get into it, but as you can see, it's one of those Mega Man 8 Eyes style level select in the beginning of the game, which I don't really care for. Because if you never played the game before, how do you know what order would be best to play it in? So why doesn't it just go linear? I don't know. That doesn't really matter. Just a little thought there. Immediately, what's jumping out to me in this game is the music. It is banging. Now, as I play some of the other levels, I realize I definitely recognize some of this. So they've either recycled some of these or all of them. Like I said, I don't really know the whole backstory on Holy Relics here. I just know I like playing it and it's a good game. As you can see, the graphics look a lot like the original Castlevania. The hub is identical. Controls are a bit stiff like the original Castlevania. You got your sub-weapons, which you collect hearts to be able to use them, which I always thought was super stupid and really confusing, because in every other game you play, hearts are life. It only makes sense. Why, Castlevania? Why? The game is rather difficult, as are all Castlevania games, and in case you're wondering, yes, the dreaded knockback is in full effect here. So I might be starting off a little negative with my thoughts on this game, but it's positive. I give you a thumbs up on this. The enemies, you get an assortment of your similar things, skeletons, bats, wolves, things like that. One more negative, you got the weird ass slow climb, can't move, stair mechanic. If you could just jump when you're on the staircase, you could go up them faster, it'd be more fun. I mean, it makes it more difficult, but do you really need to throw something in there that isn't really enjoyable just to make it difficult? And speaking of difficult, the boss battles. I haven't gotten through all of the bosses, but I have played some of them, and they were all pretty darn difficult. Obviously, you know, if you'd been playing it for 30 years like you had the originals, you'd know the patterns, so I'm sure once you do, that becomes easier, but not knowing the patterns at this time, the boss battles were, they were a challenge. You got your Castlevania style wall meat still in full effect here in this game. Now, despite playing the NES and Castlevania games for many a year, I am no expert when I do like them. As I said before, I've only really beaten the first one, and it did give me a great degree of difficulty. I liked it a lot, but you know, it's a difficult game, but it is a kick-ass game, just right for the Halloween season. And the more time I put into it, the more I am enjoying it. Definitely, just every credit I play on that dog bone controller, I like it a little more. And I play it a little more every year, year after year. I think I've had this one for, it's had to be over 5-6 years. And I play it every year at Halloween. And every year I get a little further. And this year I like it the best. Halloween's coming to an end, so that'll probably be as far as I get this year. Because the next two games, number 2 and number 1, I find a lot more fun than this one. Which, Castlevania Holy Relics. It's a good one. That's a good game. That's why it's my number 3. It was really tough to pick my number 2 choice. And they actually flip-flopped when I got the game footage for this. What I'm going to tell you is number 2 was, for a while, my number 1. But what's coming in at number 2 is a game a lot of people have been talking about for good reason, because it's fantastic. I'm actually playing, I'm going to hold it up and you're going to be like, what the hell is that? But I'm talking about Haunted Halloween 85. Now, you're saying, back in the day gamer, this is not a bright orange cart. That is not Haunted Halloween 85. No! No, sir! This is actually Action 53. Another homebrew. An offshoot of Action 52, which we all know would be renownedly terrible. Only Action 53 is not terrible. It's fantastic. It's the one we should have gotten so many years ago. Now, this one is 23 games and toys for your 23 new games and toys for your NES. Not sure what they mean by toys. Must have been a couple games that weren't so much games that I didn't get to play. But anyhow, Haunted Halloween 85 is on here. It's not the full game. You only get the first level. It's a taste, but that taste is good enough. Actually have the game on my Switch, but I can't hold that cartridge in front of you. So for now, I am holding this one. Even though this game is a homebrew that came out pretty recently, I'm sure you're all aware of it because it gets talked about a lot. Like I said, for well reason, because it's a fantastic game. Now, I regret many years ago when I was at MGC, the developers were there, they had a booth, and they were trying to sell this to me with its sweet orange cartridge, and I passed. The reason I passed was because originally the graphics really turned me off. I'm a attracted to shiny things kind of guy. When I see a game with awesome graphics, I'm immediately drawn to that, and it makes me want to play it. Doesn't mean I like games because of graphics, but that's usually what catches my eye. And I didn't like it at first. They turned me off, so I passed, and I regretted it. I judged that book by its cover, and I judged wrong. Also, the controls are a little wiry and slippery, and if you only play it for like 2 minutes, which I did at MGC, it's kind of like, okay, this game ain't great. But when you give it 5 minutes, you got it down, and that's when the game starts to get fantastic. By a little slippery, I mean, you move pretty quick, but you got to kind of double tap to turn around. If you're running to the right, you want to turn around and go to the left, you kind of got to hit it twice or just hold it down a little harder. It's not ultra responsive, but it's responsive. And those are my only gripes right there. Initially, not liking the graphics. That was just initially. And then the controls. But 5 minutes in, you get used to it, you're loving it. This game is a pretty simple style River Ransom looking beat 'em up. The first thing I really started liking about this game is that you're in a mall. And it really, before I even noticed I was in a mall, it reminded me of the mall that I used to hang out at when I was a kid. Northtown Mall. If anyone's familiar with that, you're not. But I think my favorite little touch of the game is instead of hit points, you lose color and gradually become a zombie. And that's a fantastic touch for a haunted Halloween game. I really, really like that. I want to stress it one more time that aspect was really cool. Since you're at a mall in 1985, you got to have a VHS store, right? Another good touch. Your enemies, you got staple horror Halloween, zombies, ghosts, bats, of course those are going to be there. For power-ups, you get a piece of candy corn, gives you an extra hit point. That's fantastic as well. The game's 2D, but you kind of interact with the environment, which is a nice little touch. You know, you got to jump up on the tables in the food court, climb the stage in the cinema. When there's broken glass on the floor, it can hurt you, so you got to jump over that. The movie theater's hands down my favorite part of this board. You got the little touches like, you know, the rated R, and then as you go behind the screen, you see the shadow of your characters and the enemies. I thought that was fantastic. You got your 80s banner, winners don't use drugs. Then when you're in the lobby, you see the marquees over the movie theater that you're going to go into to know which theater. You got Commando, Goonies, Ghostbusters, and then they made up a bunch of weird ones, which I thought was dumb. Why didn't they just put some other movies from '85 on there? But I didn't develop this game, somebody else did. Then every mall obviously has a food court, so you got a little touch of that right here. The boss battle at the end of the first stage was a little lackluster in my opinion, but I'm sure they get better. The little birds or bats were annoying, and then the big one just takes one hit and then it's over. I guess I would like to see something different happen there, but it could be worse. After you beat him and it goes into more of the story, that part's super hilarious. You know, he's talking about how he wanted to pick up an Iron Maiden shirt. Maiden, all right. It's a nice touch. 80s is all hell, but he had Iron Maiden shirts back in the day, right? It reminds me, I need to get on Amazon and get me an Iron Maiden shirt. I don't think I have one. What's your favorite Iron Maiden song? Do you have one? You better have one. If you're watching this channel, you got a favorite Iron Maiden song. Mine is Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. If you don't know that song, it's on Power Slave, and it kicks ass. It's like 13 minutes long too, so you're in for a good jam. But Haunted Halloween 85, the game's fantastic. I know there's an 86, and I believe I just saw that they are either coming out with or should be out now with a Haunted Halloween 87. So I'm game for all those. Moving on to my number one pick. As I said, this was definitely my number one pick until last night, when I literally stayed up until midnight, which is super late because I had to get up really early playing this game. It's like, I'm just gonna get some footage here from a video that I'm gonna put out in a timely manner because I've vowed to do that from now on. You can't put out Halloween videos after Halloween. It just doesn't work like that. Even though I probably will. Got to put out my Halloween episode after Halloween. Can't talk about what happened on Halloween until Halloween happened, right? But my number one pick, they flip-flopped. This is a game I'm going out on a limb and saying almost none of you have heard of. The only time I heard of it is when I bought it and I looked up a video that somebody else had just because I wondered their thoughts on it. I'm calling it though. You guys have never heard of this game. Ghoul Grind. Night of the Necromancer. And a couple sweet little touches. I'm sure you see it's got like this embossed sleeve on both sides. It's got the name in nice silver print. And then on the back, an even nicer little touch is the blood dripping font on that back sticker. That's the extra mile. That is the extra mile. Bravo to It Doesn't Say. But when we turn it on, it does say who developed this game. Ghoul Grind. So on paper, this is a game that I would never like and never play. But since it was Halloween themed, it caught my eye. Therefore, I picked it up. When I originally got it and played it, I didn't care for it much at all because it's hard as hell. It's an auto-scroller. Now, since Back in the Day Gamer only plays games from back in the day, an auto-scroller is not anything I'd ever even seen. I'm sure in the modern era, there's games like this, but it's not anything to this day that I still have ever seen, nor do I care for. As I said, it's an auto-scroller, so it just constantly moves forward. The only thing you can do is jump or shoot, which on paper doesn't sound fun at all. But once you get to playing this game and you get the controls down, you straight addicted. So there's two characters that you switch back and forth in between, the guy and the girl. The guy has a straight shot and a double jump, which I love a double jump in a game. It's always a bonus for me. And the girl has this wave attack that you need to use to clear certain blocks to get past, but she does not have a double jump. Now, quick switching between the two is hair trigger fast, and you got to do it on the fly, and it requires a lot of practice and a lot of getting used to. What takes even more getting used to is that you can't move forward or backwards because you're just used to doing that in games. Aside from that, you also can't duck, and just getting used to those things is tough. But like I said, once you get used to it, you just can't put this thing down. Despite that, it has like a hardcore, unforgiving difficulty. You can get hit twice before you die, so I guess that's kind of like Ghosts and Goblins. And there's no guys. When you die, it just automatically starts over again. So that like adds to the just crack addictingness of this game, because when you're like, oh, you know, hey, maybe I'll be done, you know, it just, you don't even have to think about it. Hit start. It just starts over automatically again, like forcing you to play it. So there's this automatic restart, and just because of that, you just sit there and just keep playing it and playing it. It's like the game just like won't let you stop. And this is the pinnacle of an example of one of those games where you're just like, just one more try, just one more try. It's like I said, you don't even think about it. It just starts it over for you. And then we can't forget that the music is good. The graphics are pretty good. They could be better, but it is an NES homebrew. And then the controls are absolutely spot on, which they have to be because the game's insane fast. Boss battles, can't forget the boss battles. There's one at the end of every board. Oh, I think I was on stage 4 or 5 last night before I finally hung it up. The boss battles, until you figure out the pattern, like usual, I probably say that almost every video. Once you figure out the pattern, then they're easier, but there was only one that didn't give me a lot of trouble. Once again, didn't beat the game. I looked and I was like, holy shit, I've been playing this game for over 2 hours. It felt like 15 minutes. It was midnight. I had to go to bed, and probably gonna stay up again late playing it tonight because I gotta beat this damn game. But once again, Ghoul Grind, Night of the Necromancer. This is a winner. This is a homebrew hidden gem right there. I have no idea. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I got it at a convention. I don't know what I paid for it. I don't know what it costs now. I don't care. But on paper, this is a game I never would have played. And it feels like, hey, I got this game in a box, one of my Video Games Monthly boxes. You know, like, oh, no, I wouldn't have bought this myself, but let's give it a try. And then you're loving the game. That's what's good about Video Games Monthly. But I did pick this one out. I did play it, and I do love it. That's why it's my #1 pick for NES Halloween Homebrew Top 3. So, well, I guess I don't want to put those in the thumbnail because this one's supposed to be that orange cart, but it's not. But right there, Top 3 NES Halloween Homebrews for 2025. Thanks for tuning into my channel. I hope you enjoyed these games. Me talking about these games, because you didn't play them, but Holy Relics is something most of you have probably heard of. Haunted Halloween you all know about. I'm anxious to take a look and see if the 87 is out yet, or if I'm just crazy and making that up in my head. But if you can get your hands on any of these, try first for Ghoul Grind. There you go. That's have it. That's wrapping it up for today. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Have a happy Halloween. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And until next time, keep it retro!